Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Marie, and these are the top homeopathic remedies for seasonal allergies. Medical disclaimer: nothing here is meant to be taken as medical advice. I am merely sharing homeopathic tradition. For any serious concerns, do not hesitate to reach out to a doctor or go to the emergency room. This is not intended to replace qualified medical attention. All right, so seasonal allergies. Are you just tired of every spring or fall having to deal with itchy eyes, runny nose, and then having, to rely on your typical over the counter or maybe even like prescription medicines or even allergy shots? Well, fortunately, homeopathy has many remedies which are indicated for seasonal allergies. And homeopathy, though, it's going to be a little bit different, because like in the allopathic world, Claritin or Allegra, it's kind of viewed as like a one shot, fits all for everybody, no matter what kind of allergies it is they're having. Whereas in homeopathy, it's going to be based a lot more on your individual allergy symptoms. For example, like somebody who has allergies that are very focused in the eyes with very itchy, watery eyes that are just driving them crazy, is going to need a different remedy than somebody who's having a runny nose. It's just always going to be very individualized in terms of what symptoms is the body actually expressing that would then point to a remedy. So here are some then of the most common homeopathic allergy remedies. All right, so right off the bat, Allium cepa, Nat Mur, and Ars alb. You're going to want to think of these three if your big allergy complaint centers in the sinuses, like maybe you have a very runny nose. In Allium cepa, that runny nose is often going to be very clear, very thin, very itchy, very watery. And just as a bit of a little personal story here, for years and years and years and years and years, I dealt with horrific seasonal allergies, especially in the fall. And I would just get an unbelievably runny nose. It would just drive me insane. It would be miserable to where quite literally for months at a time, every single day, I was taking Claritin. Or even one year, it was just so extreme. I got so sick with such bad allergies after moving to a new area. I literally had to get an allergy shot in my arm, a steroid shot, and it made the muscle like cave in on my arm. It was just so crazy. And so then I discovered a little remedy called Allium cepa. And quite literally, I have to just take it now, like maybe once or twice a year, and I have no allergies. Allium cepa is amazing when it is indicated. Nat Mur is going to be pretty similar looking to Allium cepa, except where Nat Mur, well, it's also going to be clear as in the same way that Allium cepa is, but then in Nat Mur, it's going to be much more of a thick kind of an egg whitey consistency, whereas Allium cepa is just extremely thin. And in Nat Mur too, like you might find that you have a lot of headaches with it, and maybe you're sneezing a lot too. And then in Arsenicum album or Ars alb, it's going to be clear and thin like Allium cepa usually, and you might be sneezing a lot like with an Atmure, but there's going to be much more of a burning quality. Our salve you always want to think of as just really kind of the top remedy to think of really for any sort of burning allergies. So if your sinuses are like super, super burning and then also in conjunction with the runny nose, then our salve is going to be a very good one to think of. All right, euphrasia. This is going to be one that really centers on the eyes as the primary complaint. So it's going to be also, though, kind of similar to Ilium cepa. They can kind of look a lot of alike. And sometimes, they even go hand in hand, where for a while, maybe Ilium cepa is helping me, and then I might have to switch off to euphrasia if it moves more towards my eyes. But in this one, again, it's just going to be very itchy, watery eyes as the really big remedy for that. All right, and then Wythia and Sabadilla. And this one is going to be a really itchy roof of the mouth as the primary kind of a complaint. They're both going to feature that. Now, the difference is that in Sabadilla, there's going to be a lot of just nasal discharge and mucus production with it. It's much more of kind of like a wet kind of an allergy state with a lot of sneezing. Whereas in Wythia, the entire nasal cavity and the throat is instead going to be really dried out, so you might have a really itchy roof of your mouth and you're just super dry and maybe you're wanting a lot of water or liquids to kind of help with that. All right. And so now, if the other previous remedies do not help, the previous ones are probably going to be by far the most common. But in the event they don't help, let's say you have just a ton of post nasal drip going on. Maybe you're low key wondering, do I just have a cold? And it's really thick and ropey. Then Kaylee Bick is going to be a really good one to think of. Or let's just say that inherently you're just sensitive to any change in weather. You're like, oh no, it rained today, so now I guess I have allergies. In that kind of an instance, you're going to want to think of dulcamara. Also, histaminum. Histaminum is kind of like homeopathic Benadryl. I mean, I say that loosely. I guess it's not really like it, but basically, with histaminum, it's going to be a SAR code of histamine. What a SAR code is that it's a type of remedy which is derived from a substance in the body, which is meant to stimulate the body to regulate any issue with it. So, in the case of histaminum here, it would stimulate the body to regulate any issues with histamine levels, like maybe your histamine levels are sky high, then histaminum could help stimulate the body to regulate them. And apis. Apis is going to be issues with like sudden extreme swelling or rashes or allergies of any sort. It's usually going to be much more of an insect bite, sting, or even a true allergy type of a thing. And for which case, please call 911, go to the ER, seek medical advice. But I did want to include it as it is so synonymous with allergies. Also, be aware of apis. All right, and then how to take these. I usually suggest that in the moment of allergies, like let's say, you're actively having very thin, runny, itchy nose, to take 3 pellets of that remedy in 30C in the moment directly by mouth. And then if it helps, like let's say, yeah, you have a very itchy, runny nose, it's bothering you, you take Apis 30C and it helps you. Amazing, awesome. But then let's say, it comes back 3 weeks later, something like that, then only repeat it then if it returns. Otherwise, if it doesn't come back, don't worry about it. The big rule of thumb in homeopathy is that if it helps, leave it be. You don't have to repeat it. Only take it again if it helps and then it repeats. But let's say, it's helping and it continues to help. Like let's say, once a month, once a quarter, you're having your allium cepa type issues. And then let's say, one day you take the 30C and you're like, why isn't this helping anymore? It used to always help. And that type of an instance, then you would want to move up to the next potency up of 200C. And let's just say it never helps at all. Like you have a really itchy, runny nose. You're like, okay, how come Aliacepa is not helping here? Marie said it would help. But let's say it's just not helping. And that kind of an instance, you would need a better indicated remedy. All right. Well, I hope that this was helpful. Allergies are horrific. Like I said, I used to deal with them and it was the most miserable thing in the world. So I hope this is helpful. Let me know any questions, any thoughts. If you've tried any of these in the past and how it went, let me know below and be sure to subscribe for next time.